So welcome to reinforcement learning application in financial trading and investment. Okay, so this is one of our workshops which we are holding in the field or in the area of application of AI in finance, in the finance industry. So we would like to see how AI is used in the financial industry. As a disclaimer, what we're going to discuss today is strictly for educational purposes and is not a financial advice. For those seeking financial advice, we will highly encourage you to go and talk to your financial advisor because he is more aware of your situation and will give you the right advice. Okay, so the agenda for today, I will start by introduction, then I will give you a basics or an overview of machine learning, after which I will discuss neural networks, which is a subset of machine learning. Then I will discuss reinforcement learning, which is a type of machine learning. I will further look into how trading strategies are developed using AI. Then we will see how we can build a trading bot using a particular framework that we've been using for the past few days. After that, I will show you a live demo where I will be able to build a trading bot. Okay, and then we will have an interactive Q&A as well as discuss the next steps. Okay, so you are welcome. My name is Abubakar Sani Ali. I have a PhD in electrical and computer engineering with specialization in AI applications in communication systems. I did my PhD in the UAE, Khalifa University. Before that, I did my MSc in communications and signal processing from University of Leeds in the UK. I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering. So I've come from the engineering background, and of course, I would like to say that my background is not financial background. So I didn't study accounting or business administration, but I have been intrigued in this regard and in this sector, not only because I am keen in understanding how AI is applied in different fields and sectors and industries, but I am intrigued and I like the financial sector because I believe it is the soul that
Okay.
moves the world. Okay, so in terms of the host institution, the company is called Asatora
Alright.
Services, and we provide services related to consultancy in AI. So AI consultancy. We also provide training and workshops. So for those who want to learn and gain knowledge of how to use AI and develop AI systems, we can train people in that regard. We also do research and development in the context of AI, IoT, which is Internet of Things, as well as cybersecurity. So, what is the workshop goal today? So, our main goal today is to see, okay, to discuss what machine learning is, what is AI, how is it related with machine learning, and then how is machine learning applied in the context of trading and investing. We would like to see also some case studies where this has been used, okay, in this industry. Finally, we would like to see how we can implement or build a trading bot. All right. So basics of machine learning. I would like to start with the basics of machine learning. So for those of you who are joining this for the first time, I will take my time to explain some of the concepts here because if you do not understand the concept early on, then you might be lost along along the line. So if you have any question while I'm explaining the concepts here, please do not hesitate to raise your hand, okay? Or you can send your question in the chat panel and I will do my best to address your question. Okay. So machine learning and AI, how are they related? First of all, machine learning is a subset of AI. Okay, meaning that AI is a bigger umbrella and machine learning is just one part of that umbrella. You have different types of AI techniques. You have robotics, for example, evolutionary computation, and others. Okay, with machine learning being one of those. So, for those who are hearing this for the first time, I think it is important to make this note. Okay, and when we talk about machine learning, we are talking about systems that learn from experience, meaning that if you have an AI system that learns from experience, experience here means data. So you have historical data, some information, some things that happened in the past. You use this so that the system can leverage this history to learn. So if this is how the system learns, we call it a machine learning system. We have different types of systems, as I said in AI. For example, you have expert systems where you have an expert that sits and tries to program systems so that they will be able to follow the same steps which the expert follows when executing his job. Okay, so that means in the context of machine learning, there is no need to explicitly program or instruct the computer upon the steps which it will follow. So you don't have to tell it, okay, start with this. After you are done with this, move on to this. Okay, these are the steps we want you to follow to address. For example, let's say we want to price a house. We don't want to tell it, okay, if the room of the house, if the number of rooms in the house are this, okay, if you have two rooms in the house and the house, for example, comes or is situated near the highway and this, then this is the value. So this is an instruction based system. So you put things explicitly, tell it when this happens, this is what the result is. But for the case of machine learning, you just give it historical data. Maybe there is some experienced real estate broker who has been in the industry for years, and we have record of his valuation of houses. So we can just use those valuation records, get that data, and then we train the system to learn from that history. By doing that, we want it to figure out the pattern. What was the reason why this real estate broker was valuating houses in this way and in this manner? And you have been actually exposed to AI for the past decades. Okay, of course, maybe we were not mostly aware of that until when ChatGPT comes into the picture. But AI has been used in email filtering. So if you have been using Gmail, Yahoo, and stuff like that, when you receive an email, it gets sorted out into folders for you. You have the primary folder, the promotions folder. You also have, for example, the spam folder. Okay, so all this kind of filtering system is an AI system. So it's not somebody who sits behind the computers and is saying, okay, this email looks like a spam, so let it go to the spam folder. No, you have this system that was trained from huge amounts of data. Okay, then it is now able to know and identify the patterns in the email so that once it sees an email that has a certain pattern, it can categorize it as spam email or junk email. Speech recognition systems have been there for a while now. For example, you have Cortana, you have Siri, you have Alexa, and so on. So all these are AI powered systems. We have predictive analytics. So this is a type of system that tries to predict what something is going to be. Okay, for example, if I hold on to a picture, I would like the system to tell me what type of object is in the picture. So it is predicting the type of object. Or in the case of, let's say, financial institutions, I would like to predict what the price of a stock or of an asset is going to be. Okay, maybe by the end of the day, maybe by the end of the week, maybe by the end of the year. So this is type of systems are called predictive analytics, and that is what we're going to see today. So this is one of the key takeaways. Okay, if you are able to understand this part, at least you will have one important key takeaway from this workshop, and that is the types or the tasks involved in machine learning. So machine learning comes in different shapes. We have three main tasks in machine learning. Of course, there are some subtasks, okay, of course, but these are the three main tasks that are being addressed by machine learning. The first one, we call it the regression supervised learning. We have the unsupervised learning, and then we have the reinforcement learning. So supervised learning, this is a system where you have like a student and a teacher, okay, with the teacher staying by the student, teaching him and providing him with examples as well as the answers or solutions to the examples. So this is a supervised learning. You have a teacher in the loop. For example, if you want to teach your kid, or if you have your younger sibling, you want to show them the names, of animals, you can take them to the park. So when they see an animal, you tell them, okay, this animal is a dog, this animal is a cat. By doing that, you expect them to recognize the pattern of how a dog looks like and how a cat looks like. Once they develop that model in their head, they will now be able to classify a dog as a dog and a cat as a cat. Okay, so you have that supervisor during the planning process. And the supervised learning comes in two shapes as well. We have regression and classification. The first example I gave, where we have, let's say, an experienced real estate broker that tries to tell us, okay, this is how much the house is going to cost. So it's like you have this experienced guy who goes around, okay, takes people with him or students or mentees, tell them, if you see a house like this with this size, this type of neighborhood, this is how much you should value it. So he gives them like 100 examples, and from there they try to figure out a pattern, like, okay, so how this that look like this should be valued around this value. So if you are predicting a continuous number like this, we call this kind of task a regression task. Okay. Classification also is like the example I gave, where you go and you try to help someone to learn how to classify or categorize objects like the cat, dog, things like that. So that's classification. Okay, so these two fall under the supervised learning category. You have the unsupervised learning. Here, you have the teacher who comes, but he only provides examples, only the samples, no solution or no answer. It's like you coming with your kid or your sibling to the park, you sit there and you show them animals. So you don't tell them this animal is a dog, this animal is a cat. You just allow them to see how animals look like. You know, they try to make some patterns. They might say, okay, these animals, this looks like they belong together. They don't know the names of those animals, but one thing they know is that this may be likely come from the same family. So this is for the case of unsupervised learning. The data is there, but there is no label. Okay, we don't know how or the solution or something like that. Lastly, reinforcement learning. Okay, in the case of reinforcement learning, the data is not there, talk less of the label. So we do not have anybody to teach us or give us examples. We are just thrown into the into the environment. In this case, for example, you take somebody out, tell him to go and value houses, give you valuation of houses. So he goes, just makes valuation, solves a house. Then when he comes back to his boss, the boss berates him, chastise him. This kind of thing. He realized, okay, so maybe I valued the house wrongly. I will try to avoid doing that. So he was penalized. But when he goes and did a very good valuation, came back, the boss will help him, praise him, and maybe give him some bonus. So he gets rewarded for making the right valuation. So by following this trial and error process, that's how that mentee learn how to value houses. So that's how it works in the case of reinforcement learning. So these are the three major types of machine learning. Okay. As I said, this is the key takeaway. If you take this, then you will be able to solve most of the problems you come across. Of course, when you have any problem, the first thing is to understand the problem and to understand what is the right tool to solve that problem. And this is why I said this is one of the key takeaways. If you understand this, then when you are given a financial problem and you want to use AI, or machine learning, you will know whether this problem is suitable for AI or machine learning. First of all, can I use AI or machine learning to address this problem? Then will I be able to use supervised approach because I have historical data as well as the labels or the target values? Or I only have the historical data, some samples, but I don't know what is the target value? Or I don't have anything, I have no data. But then can I use a reinforcement learning approach to solve the problem? So this is the first step you take when you are thinking about using AI to solve any problem in any system. Okay, so has machine learning or AI been used in the trading and investing industry? Yes. Okay, and it is used first of all to enhance predictive accuracy. So let's say you are a trader or you're an investor and you make a prediction that a certain stock is going to reach a particular value or a particular level. Of course, you will be happy if you also get some historical data, use it to train a machine learning model. Then the model also makes a prediction that aligns or agrees with your earlier prediction. At least you have now confirmation. So this is one good thing about using machine learning. And not only that, it's the decision that it helps you make is data driven. Maybe the data was obtained from an expert or experienced trader or investor, okay, from his historical trades or investment that he made over the years. That was how the model was trained, so that it can be able to mimic the way he makes or executes trades. So at least with this, you will be having more confidence in your trades. And the idea here is they process large data sets and they can do that very quickly. Quickly they can process huge amount of data. After that, identify complex patterns and trends within the data. Maybe in your case, you can use only one, two, three technical indicators to come up with a strategy. Okay, you are an investor, you use fundamental analysis, you take into consideration 3 or 4 ratios that you use to identify the intrinsic value of a stock, for example. So, in the case of machine learning, you can have as many, you know, variables to help your decision, and the machine learning model will be able to figure out a pattern. It will even figure out maybe some of the ratios you are using are not even that important in your final decision. Okay, so they will drop those out, and it will do that systematically. Okay, this has been used by the giants in Wall Street, the Renaissance Technologies, BlackRock, Citadel, Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, and others. They have been using AI, machine learning, statistics, and stuff like that to be trading in the financial market. So the good thing is now computers have progressed to the extent that even you and I can be able to buy a computer that can run these algorithms and provide us with predictions. That's very good. That's good. Before, you have to spend huge amounts of money in order to lay your hands on the computational power that can do this task. So next, I will talk about neural networks. What are they and how do they relate to what we are doing and how are they related to machine learning? Okay, so no questions so far. I don't see any question in the chat, so I believe everything is clear so far. Okay, so neural networks. So when you talk about machine learning, it comes in different shapes as well. There are so many different algorithms in machine learning. First of all, some algorithms will be solely for supervised learning. Some will be for unsupervised learning. Some will be for reinforcement learning. So that is the first thing you need to understand. Not only that, some of those algorithms can work for either reinforcement learning, supervised learning, or unsupervised learning. Okay, it depends on how you structure them when you are implementing them. So there are hundreds of thousands of machine learning algorithms out there, hundreds of thousands, not just few, hundreds of thousands. Okay, you have them out there, and every day they are making new ones. Every day they are making new ones. However, the ones that are now becoming very popular are the neural networks. For those who are using ChatGPT, so many of the systems also there also are powered by neural networks. So these algorithms that are based on neural networks were showing huge promise, and they have allowed and enabled different types of applications. Neural networks takes their inspiration from the brain, how our human brains work. Okay. For example, if you see this image here, this is a brain cell. You have the nucleus, you have the dendrites, the axon, and the botons. And this brain cell receives, okay, signals via the dendrites. It will sum everything up. Okay, then the nucleus will see if this signals have reached a certain threshold of importance. If yes, then this neuron will fire. It will send that signal to the next neuron, which is connected via the buttons. So it will pick the right neuron to send this information to, and that's how you process information. So as I speak to you, so many neurons in your head are firing, signals. So looking at this, the computer scientists and mathematicians thought of trying to model the brain in a mathematical form so that we can also leverage that power, that superpower of the human brain. Why is that? Because humans are incredible pattern recognition machines. For a human being, we see something, we immediately are able to understand the pattern. For example, when a kid sees a spider, this is a spider, he takes that as an input from the world. He might just make his decision, the output will be to run away from the spider. He comes across an ice cream as the input from the world, he would like to take a test. So this is kind of pattern recognition, even for kids in their tender ages, is powerful. So the idea is, how do we liberate and leverage this kind of idea into our systems? Okay. So this is the motivation behind that, and the way they did it was to form something called the perceptron. So they said, assuming each nucleus or each neuron can be represented by a simple element called the perceptron, where the input represent the dendrites where we get the input signals. Then you have the nucleus, which also performs the function of summing all the signals that come from the input. And then you have an activation function that tries to, I will explain that, okay, that tries to constrain the signals so that an output will be obtained. So the idea is, when these inputs come, we will assign weights to them. So we will say, okay, maybe if you are trying to buy a house, so all of these signals could be coming from different, inputs. Let's say this one is the number of rooms, this one is the neighborhood, so this one maybe is the task rate in that locality, and so on. So you want to say, okay, the most important feature, okay, inputs, features, variables are all the same. So the most important or most significant feature is x1, which is the size of the house. Therefore, I'm going to put a higher weight if I'm going to be able to get good output decision. Okay. Maybe the local tax rate is not that significant, so I will put a small weight to it. Okay, because this one will not help me make the good valuation if I give it so much weight. So these weights are called parameters. We call them the tunable parameters. So during training, what we are doing is trying to tune these weights, trying to make them as accurate as possible so as our output will be as also accurate as possible to the ground truth or the original value. Okay, so let's say we have the original value of the house. Okay, so we want to tune this W so that their summation, which will be the multiplication of the inputs to the weights, will be as close to the output as possible. With this, you can say you have developed a system that can predict house prices. Okay, so this is how they do this. So this is one single neuron, for example, and we call it the perceptron. It's the single unit of the building block. And as I said, the output is Y. You have the inputs, they are multiplied by their corresponding weights, and you sum them up. Then you add something we call the bias. The activation function is to constrain this value of Y. So when this multiplication happens, we want Y to be falling within a certain range. We don't want Y to fall outside this range. Okay? And why is that the case? Because if, for example, we allow, let's say, numbers to go to run all the way from minus infinity to plus infinity, then it will be very difficult for our systems to figure out the exact values of weights. You know, it will take time. So we try to constrain, let's say, the output. So we can say, okay, let's constrain everything to be between 0 and 1. Okay, this is kind of, scaling. Put everything from minus infinity to infinity now has become from 0 to 1, so that we can set a threshold at 0.5. So when we sum up everything, okay, and the value we get is above 0.5, then that means the signal is important. This neuron will fire, it will transmit the signal. If it is below this threshold of 0.5, then the neuron will not fire a signal. Alright, so this is what activation function does. The context of when we talk about perceptron a lot, it's not powerful, but it becomes powerful, the systems become powerful when you have multiple neurons. Just like your brain does not have one single cell, it is connection of multiple cells. Same thing happens here. The perceptrons, when you connect them together, then that's when you start to see the power coming into play. And the connections come in maybe layers, so you will have different layers. For example, here we have around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, neurons. These are the neurons, for example. Okay, or you can see each one of this is a perceptron, and each perceptron, for example, is connected to the input and it gets an output. Okay, so this kind of connection you can see is a network. That's where the network in the name comes. Okay, so neural network, connection of neurons. Okay, that's neural network. The multi-layer is all about having different layers. Here you have 3 layers. The input layer, where you have all those features that determine the price of a house. The hidden layer, this is a layer we add in between the input and the output. Okay, and the output layer is the layer that gives you the price. The prediction comes as the output. Hidden layer can be of different shapes. So this part here is a black box. What we are only aware of if you are training a neural network is the input, okay, and the output. Whatever it comes in between is hidden. That's why it is called hidden layer. So you as an engineer, or when you are building a neural network, you only know, okay, these are the inputs I am putting. That is the house size, the neighborhood, tax rate. I know this, and I know the output that I see at the output of the network is the price of the house. But everything that comes in between is like a black box to me. That's why they call them hidden layers. And you can have as many of these hidden layers in between the input and output as you want. Okay, so this number of hidden layers that should come between this is a hyperparameter. It is something that we normally tune. We want to know, should we add more or should we add less? And how do we know whether to add more or add less? Hidden layers is from the output. So if we see by adding more hidden layers, we are getting better results in the output, we add more. If we see that maybe fewer hidden layers gives us the better result, we make sure we remove as many hidden layers as possible so that our results become good. Backpropagation is a system or algorithm that allows the neural networks to learn. Okay, this is the part that trains the neural network. Okay, this is like the feedback system. Like if you go and make prediction of a house, You would like to come back to your teacher to tell him, okay, so this is the house. Based on the examples you are giving me, I am also evaluating this house at this price. Do you think this is good or no? He will tell you, no, no, no. You are way up the value. This house should be maybe like 20. So that means you have back propagated your output or your prediction to your teacher. So this kind of process is what allows the neural networks to train. So he goes, make predictions, he looks at the examples, then he tries to say, okay, I think these are the parameters that really matter. These are the features that are more important. Based on the examples this teacher has given me, let me go and test and make a prediction. He goes, makes a prediction, comes and check with the teacher. What do you think? Am I on track or I'm off track? You say, oh no, no, I get it there. You're almost there. Okay. So this is how it works. All right. So this back propagation algorithm is what allows neural networks to learn. Okay. So these are the key concepts when it comes to neural networks. If you have some few questions here too, you can ask before we move to the next section, which is an overview of reinforcement learning. As I said, if you have questions, you can just send it in the chat or you can raise up your hand. Okay. No questions. All right. Now moving to reinforcement learning. So what is reinforcement learning? I have explained this briefly in the previous slides. So as we said, in the case of supervised learning, you have a teacher who comes teach the student, gives him examples and tells him the output or the result or the answer. Okay, and then he stays there, try to see him make predictions, come back to him, tells him, okay, correct this, do this and that. But for the case of reinforcement learning, the student just goes there, makes decisions, then life rewards him. Maybe when he blows up his account, when he goes and wastes his money, painful experience will be his teacher. So this is how reinforcement learning works. And this has been implemented in many systems, for example, especially the gaming systems, chess games, they learn by trial and error. When they start, you will see them, they are doing woefully, they are not doing well, but give them time and they start to outperform even the best chess players. So this is how these systems work. We have ping pong too. This is a system where you also have this agents trained to play ping pong. Okay, we also sometimes, we humans, we animals, we also work on this kind of approach. We learn from this. Sometimes you do things, you try out things and you fail, and the pain of the failure teaches you or gives you a life lesson, so that the next time you come across that same scenario or situation, you try to avoid it. So deep reinforcement learning. So in order to connect neural networks with reinforcement learning, which is one of the reasons why I gave an overview of neural networks first, is so that you understand that reinforcement learning comes in different shapes. First of all, okay, we have different algorithms in reinforcement learning. We have Q learning, we have SARSA, we have KM bandits. You have different types. Then you have the deep reinforcement learning. So under reinforcement learning, you have some subsection called deep reinforcement learning. So these are techniques that use neural networks. So the basis of this technique is they follow the same reinforcement learning process, where you have the trial and error learning approach, and then you have the reward and penalty embedded in the system. So you reward and you penalize a system, and that's how it learns. So neural network in combination with reinforcement learning gives us deep reinforcement learning. And deep reinforcement learning made significant strides, I would say, in AI. It has changed a lot of things. First of all, thanks to this reinforcement learning approach, we are able to have ChatGPT and similar tools out there. Okay, so it has been out there for a while, until when they now decided to say, you know what, why don't we use reinforcement learning with human feedback, so RLHF. So they put a person there. This generative models will be generating response. So you ask ChatGPT. This is in its initial stage when they were starting. You send a question to it, it will respond to you. Then the human will be there who is saying, this is a good response, this is a bad response. This is a good response, this is a bad response. By doing that, it keeps learning. So when you tell it this is a good response, it tries to maximize making that type of response. When you tell it this is a bad response, it tries to minimize that type of response. And that's how they were able to train systems like the ChatGPT, which has become very popular. So let's look at this image here. This is how reinforcement learning works, and these are the elements of reinforcement learning. So when you are building any reinforcement learning, you need these things to be defined, to be well defined. You will have the agent, you will have an environment, you will have actions, rewards, and observations. So let's break this down one by one. An agent, this is the decision maker. Okay. So the agent is there, it is what makes your decisions. In the financial system, for example, in the financial world, you want an agent out there that will be deciding whether to buy or to sell a stock or an asset, for example. Okay? But then, how does it make this decision of buy or sell? Is from observations. Okay? It is thrown in an environment. So the environment in this case is the financial market. So the financial market is the environment. So this agent will stay there, it will observe the environment, then it will take action. Okay? It will take action. The action could be buy, the action could be go short or hold. You know, once it makes it takes this decision, it gets rewarded. If it makes the right decision by saying go long or buy this asset, if it was the right decision, it gets profit. The account balance increase. If the decision was the wrong one, that we shouldn't have bought that stock, then the account balance will reduce. That's a penalty. Okay? So this is how these things work. So what the financial market normally, if you are going to invest or if you are going to trade, you normally have some signals you use to determine whether to buy or sell. The financial market is the environment, but those things that you observe are the observations, or you call them the state inputs, the state inputs. For example, if you are a trader, you have technical indicators, right? You look at technical indicators, for example, relative strength, index RSI, ATR, average true range, MACD, Bollinger Bands, SME, simple moving average, all these types of moving averages. These are your signals. So you might say, okay, when this happens, I'm going to buy or sell a particular asset. Okay, so all this, you generate these observations from the environment. Okay, if you are, let's say, a fundamental investor, you are investing, you might look at those ratios, those financial ratios that tells you or helps you to evaluate a stock, to get the intrinsic value. If you are a value investor or a growth investor, you have your own ratios. You take care, you make decisions based on the values you obtain from those ratios. So those ratios are your observations. Okay, so this is, in this case, for example, the environment is the lady holding the stick, and the agent is observing this lady. And if the lady throws the stick, the agent is supposed to make a decision, to take an action, either to follow and fetch the stick or to stay there jumping around. But the thing is, when he goes, follows, and when it fetches the stick, returns the stick to the environment, it gets rewarded by maybe receiving a treat or a praise, well done, things like this. If it didn't go after the stick, it will get penalized, it gets scolded at, and stuff like that. So that's how it lands. So this is what happens. And normally this is what we call the MDP, markup decision process, or how these things connect. You have the agent, it is going to be connected to the environment, okay? And then it takes an action. So the environment here will generate states, which is the observation. In the financial market, for example, we will see the RSI, the to ATR. So once we get these state values, we get these observations, the agent will now decide to take an action. Okay, AT. Okay. So once it takes an action, this action is now, made on this environment. Then it will get a reward, which is RT. Based on this reward, it tries to learn. I took action 80 during or when given ST as input, and I got reward RT. So I'm happy or am I sad? If I'm sad, I will try to avoid this action 80 if the situation is ST. Okay, so and once that happens, we move to the next state, we call it ST1. What we are saying here is, for example, at the beginning of each candlestick, for example, you look at those indicators and then you decide to buy or to sell. Based on that, you receive a reward which will be your account balance. If your account balance increases, you are happy. If it decreases, you are not happy. Okay, then we move to the next candlestick, which is ST plus 1, and we generate the averages. Okay, the ATR, the RSI, we generate those technical indicator values. So this is how the system works, and it continues like this until when the agent is fully trained. And by the time we say it is trained, our objective or the goal is to find a good policy for the decision maker. So we want to find a good policy. The good policy, this is like saying, okay, we want to find how to map a particular situation to the right decision. Okay, that's what we are saying. Find this function. So given this situation, given these conditions, this is the right decision to make. So this is the policy. So deep reinforceable learning comes where, okay, where these approximations that happen are based on neural networks. So when you have neural network as the brain of the agent, that the brain of the agent is a neural network based system, then you call this deep reinforcement learning. If this is not the system, if there is no deep neural network in the system, then you can look at the NDP formulation, look at the algorithm that is used to train the agent or the agent uses to learn, and then you know the type of algorithm there. But in this case, we are using deep reinforcement learning because they are the ones that show promise and we're able to make huge breakthroughs. So this is the one of the first applications of deep reinforcement learning. Let me see if I can play this. So this is called Atari Breakout. Okay, so DeepMind, this is a company now owned by Google. Before, it was a company or a startup in, I think, Oxford, so by some professors. So as you can see here, it's a Brick Breaker Atari game. So the idea is to have this board here to try to stop this ball from falling. Yeah, so I'm sure those of us who have played these arcade games before know how this game works. So initially, when they started training the agent, it was not doing well, but after like 2 hours of training, it started to play like an expert. Now you can see it is trying to avoid this thing from falling. So it is now becoming an expert. You see. So, but what happened was, the surprising thing that happened was after 4 hours, it started to become a grandmaster. For those of us who know this game well, there is something we call tunneling. You create a tunnel from the side, and you try to, project the ball to go through that tunnel. And once it falls, it will just go up there, and it will break the whole everything. So this is how, like, one of the early research that was done in deep reinforcement learning, and it really, made a huge impact in this regard. And yeah, so from then on, everybody was saying, okay, we can see now things can happen with these tools. All right. So this is a little overview of reinforcement learning and deep reinforcement learning. Next thing is, how are we going to use it to build a trading bot? So now we are going to go into more technical stuff. So I hope I have been able to explain the concepts clearly. As I said, if you have a question, you can open up your mic and ask. You can send your question through the chat. Otherwise, I will assume everything is clear and I will move on to the next slides. Okay, no question, I assume. All right. So now let's see how we are going to build a trading bot using reinforcement learning as the trading agent. Okay. So components of trading. When you are going to trade, normally these three things have to be there. You have the strategy, the psychology, and the management. Okay. The strategy, this is the rules you follow. How do you buy? When do you buy? You know, when do you sell after you buy? Are you going to stay in the trade? All these kind of things. This is your strategy. Psychology, this is the process where, or I will say, this is your emotional state when executing those trades. So for those of us who have an idea of psychology with relation to trading, you know that it is one of the most important criteria when it comes to success or failure. So for that reason, expert investors and traders try to separate their emotions from their trading activity. They try to take away all emotions. They just see the market as it is and do the needful. Management involves you managing your capital. How much percentage of your capital should you put or should you use to buy a certain asset when you spot an opportunity? Okay, this kind of thing. Are you going to buy? So things that have to do with how do you discipline yourself. Are you going to continuously make trades, keep trading? Maybe have something called over trading and stuff like that. So if you have an AI system, the idea is to see how you can automate all these processes. First of all, algorithmic trading is going to take out the psychological aspect, right? Robots do not have emotions. So if you have a software that you build to follow a certain strategy, you take out the emotional part of the component. So by taking that out, you are increasing your winning rate, because you allow the computers to execute trades on your behalf. So you define your strategy, you tell it this is when to buy, this is the amount to buy, this is everything I want you to do. Once you see things happening in the same manner, do the trades on my behalf. With AI, the strategy part is also taken care of. So it's also now, something the agent to figure out. So if you have reinforcement learning agent, it will figure out its own strategy. Unlike normal algorithmic trading that we started with during our initial workshops, okay, where you are the one to define the strategy. You will tell it, okay, this is, if you see an indicator, for example, RSI, if the RSI is above 70, that is saying that this asset is overbought. So it's supposed now it's going to go down, and then I can go short. If the RSI is below 30, this asset is undervalued or undersold. I am now going to go long. I know it is now going to go up. So I can buy that asset. I can go long. Okay, this is my strategy. But in the case of reinforcement learning, we are allowing the agent to figure out its own strategy by itself. Okay, and we will allow it also. You can have this system where even the management of the account, it is going to figure out how to manage the account, what percentage to be put in when it's a trading opportunity, Maybe there could be a very good trading opportunity that it has a very high certainty of success. Then it is going to go and put in a lot of your capital into that trade. So you allow it to manage everything. So an enforcement learning agent can be able to do all of that. It can be able to learn the strategy based on the historical data. Not only that, manage your capital for you. And the psychology part has already been taken care of. After all, it is not having any emotions. Efficiency and speed is one of the benefits you get from using bots. You can't compare your speed with that of a computer. Consistency and discipline, I've explained this. Risk management, explain this. Backtesting capabilities, okay? So when you have bots, you can be able to go back in time. What I mean is, with trading bots, you can have historical data, design your bot, implement your bot, and then tell it to now test itself over the previous years, months, weeks, it can do that. If you are going to test your strategy as a human, what do? You build your strategy, you sit there, you test it out using your paper trading account and see what happens after, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, depending on how your strategy is developed. But with the case of the agents or these bots, you can put everything in code, place it out there, allow it to work. After maybe few seconds, you get the result of your back testing, and you see if you should be able to tweak or tune some few things or change some few things to improve the result. Scalability is another benefit. Okay, it allows you to scale your trading. If, for example, you are only monitoring 2 or 3 assets at a time as a human being, you have 3 monitors, for example. But if you have robots, you can deploy hundreds of them, right? Hundreds of them, each one monitoring a different asset. So if you are only having three, for example, and you can only spot one trade per day, what happens if you have 30 robots also monitoring? That is what 10 threads possibly can be executed per day. If you have 300, that is around 100 threads that can be executed per day. Or even if it is not executed, but that will be around 100 opportunities. Okay, that is to say, if the trading opportunity probability of getting a trading opportunity is 1/3. So when it comes to the tools which I use or I will use to build the strategy, I have used this 4. Okay, and we will see how we are going to use these 4 tools: ChatGPT Plus, Google Colab, Python libraries, and Alpaca API. So what is ChatGPT Plus? We all know what it is. It is a natural language system, okay, based on a large language model that is used to generate a generative AI technique. So it generates uh, language. Okay, so we can talk to it, tell it our strategy, tell it what we want to do, and then it will be able to convert our ideas into code. That code, we can use it to be able to build our bot. Okay, so that's why we're going to use ChatGPT Plus. You can use other tools in this regard like Google Bard, but from different times I tested these tools, I think ChatGPT Plus is the most accurate in this regard. But still, Google Bard is powerful enough. You can use it, just that you have to be patient, okay, when using Google Bard. We have Google Colab. This is a free tool. It's a cloud-based Python programming environment. So when you get the code from ChatGPT, you need an environment to run the code, and that's where Google Colab comes into play. So you will copy the code from ChatGPT and you will paste it in Google Colab and you run the code, and the code should work. Okay, that's how, and that's why we are using Google Colab. When we are using Python, we normally have something called libraries. These are like the components that you put together. It's like when you are trying to build a car. Okay, you do not have to build every part of the car from scratch. For example, you do not have to build, or build the tire from scratch. the engine of the car from scratch. You can go and just buy them and come and assemble your car, and you have your car working, right? You can get the parts. You do not have to build an iron mill just to build a car engine, you know. So these are the libraries. They are like the parts that you can use to put things together. Other people have already built them. All you have to do is to know how to assemble them and how to use them to build your system. This include pandas, numpy, matplot library, yfinance, ta library, scikit-learn, tensorflow, pytorch, openai. So each one of them has its own usage. Pandas, numpy, we use them for data analysis and numerical computing, respectively. Matplot library for visualization. So when we want to generate visualizations, some plots, some charts, and what have you, we use Matplot library. It will do that for us. Why finance? If you want to get information about the market, you use the Yahoo Finance library. Some of us too, I'm sure those who are investing, you know that sometimes you have to use the Y Finance, to get those ratios, get information, and what have you. So same thing here. TA library, this is the technical analysis tool. Okay, so for you to get all the values for indicators, SMAs, RSI, MACD, all these tools, you need a library for that, but you can build everything from scratch if you are that good. But why do go all that through all that trouble if you can just use the libraries to make your life a lot easier? Scikit-learn is a machine learning tool, a library that allows us to build machine learning techniques. TensorFlow and PyTorch, these are for deep learning. OpenAI is one of the reinforcement learning, one of the best reinforcement learning tools out there. Okay, or libraries. So that's why I mentioned them here. You will see me, I will be using them. I will be telling the computer or the chat GPT to be using these libraries to build the chatbot. Okay, next thing is the Alpaca API. So Alpaca Securities, this is the broker I am using. Okay, Alpaca Securities, they provide a brokerage account for you. You can go create an account and you can be able to buy or sell assets, including stocks, commodities, currencies, and even crypto. Okay, so it is a brokerage account platform. You can go there and open your account. The API is the application programming interface. This provides the bridge between the code and the brokerage account. So this is so that if we make our code, we write our code, we can be able to execute trades from our code, and this will going to be impacted in the account. All right. So that's Alpaca API. We have, for example, why? In fact, why am I using Alpaca? Simply because it is free. Okay. This is, I think, one of the few tools out there that allow you to use the API to connect to the market for free without paying. All others you have to pay. You have to pay. Okay, so keep this in mind. Like most of the other API providers, they ask you to pay, and they ask you to pay huge amounts of money. Reason because you are going to use algorithmic trading, and that will increase your win rate. So maybe that is not something that is in their favor. So it's expensive, you have to pay. Okay. Now coming to the components of you know of every trading strategy. Okay, these components are going to be implemented by you if you are the one that is working on your trading strategy, or if you want to now automate it, an algorithmic approach, then you have to also take this into consideration. You have to define these components. The first component is the signal component. So this is the component that identifies a trading opportunity. So once you support a trading opportunity, how do you support a trading opportunity? So that once you support it, you take the trade. Okay. So the process of spotting a trading opportunity is the signal part. This has to be well defined. The other type involves the process where after you spot, now that you know when to buy, or now that you've seen the green light, are you going to buy immediately or are you going to wait? That's the other type. So it comes in different types. Market means buy immediately. So market order means buy immediately. Limit order means wait till the price drop. For example, if I'm going long, so I will wait when the price drops a bit so that I can increase my profit margin. Stop order means okay, I'm going to wait till the price reaches a certain level in the same direction with my predictions. If I'm predicting, for example, Tesla is going to be 300, now it is 200. Once it reaches 210, this validates my prediction that, yeah, the stock is going to go up. So I will now go and execute the trade. Risk management involves the process of getting out of the trade. Are you going to stay in the trade forever? Of course not. You are not going to allow your grandchildren to inherit the trade, right? So you want to have some strategy in place where when things happen, you get out of the trade. Okay. So for example, when you predict that the price is going to reach 300, so once it reaches 300, you want to take your money and your winnings and get out. You don't want to stay in the trade forever. The stop loss, this means that you don't want to maybe stay in the trade. Let's say Tesla is now 200. You use $10,000 to buy Tesla and you stay there even when it becomes zero. That means you lost all of your money. So maybe when it drops from 200 to 150 per share, then you can say, you know what? I'm happy with the little loss I made. I'm getting out of the trade. Position sizing, as I said, if you have $10,000, are you going to put all the $10,000 into the trade or are you going to put only a small portion? Okay, so that's the position sizing. All right, so signal. So let's see how we will define signal in the case of reinforcement learning. Okay, so first of all, uh, we have what we call MDP formulation. As I drew earlier, we said we have an agent, okay, we have an environment. So the environment will give some inputs in the form of state, then the agent will take some action AT. Okay. After that, the environment will give the agent a reward RT, right? So then we move to the next state ST plus one, for example. Okay. So this is what we call MDP in Markov decision process. So how I intend to formulate this is my state, okay, which are the observations. Let me put observations so that maybe you understand, are going to be the following. I will have ATR, average true range, RSI, MACD. Okay. So at every candlestick formation, I will look at these values, and based on these values, I want the agent to take an action. So what is my action space? Okay, my action space is going to include three actions: long, meaning go long, go short, or hold. Okay. So this is my action space, and the action taken could be one of these three. Okay, so the size of my action space is going to be 3. The size of my action space is going to be 3. And action at a given time is going to be either long, short, or hold. My reward is going to be my account balance. Okay, it's going to be my account balance. So if my account balance increase from my based on the previous action I made, of course I will have positive reward, right? If my account balance decrease based on the action I made, then I get a negative reward. I'm not happy because my account balance is dropping. Okay, so this is how I intend to formulate my MDP so that I can build the reinforcement learning system. So with this, the agent will be able to keep learning and learning and learning until when it figures out when is the right time to take a trade and when is the right time to get out of the trade. So the logic is simply to follow this reinforcement learning approach. So there are going to be three things. I'm going to buy or go long, for example, if I'm not in any position. Okay, not in any position. And okay, and action is what? Go long, it's buy. So I will buy. That means if let's say this is the first candlestick of the day, no trades have been made. So I'm going to buy if I check and my action by the agent is saying buy. Okay, so I will go long. Otherwise, I can go short. Okay, if I'm not in a position also, let's say this is the first candlestick, not in any position. Okay, and my action is what? Is sell. So I'm going to go short. Okay, I'm going to hold in three scenarios. Okay, if I'm already in a position, let's say I already bought Tesla from the previous candle, I already bought Tesla. Okay, then in this new candle that was formed, the agent is telling me to buy again. Okay, so I'm not gonna buy because I don't want to have duplicate transaction. Therefore, I will just maintain my position. Okay, I will just maintain my position. The second scenario is also the same thing as I said. Okay, uh, if I'm also let's say in a position and then I sell, I see that the agent is telling me to sell. I'm already selling. I'm already going short. The agent is telling me to sell. I'm still going to maintain my position. Or if the agent action is hold, okay. If the agent action is hold, then I'm going to hold. So maintain my position, long or short. Or if the agent, since the agent has three options to make, can tell you go long, go short, or hold. When do I exit of my trades? Three reasons. Either I reach my TP, or I reach my stop loss, or the trend reverses. Okay, trend reversal. Okay, so TP stop loss, this is okay. I think trend reversal is what I will explain. So what I'm saying here is if before in the previous candlestick, the agent tells me buy, okay, buy. And in this new candlestick, the agent tells me sell. The same, you know, the same asset, the same stock, for example, Tesla, before you told me to buy, now you are telling me to sell. This is signaling that the trend has reversed. So things are changing. Therefore, I'm going to get out of the trade. Okay, I will go and exit the trade. So these are the three possible scenarios, okay, of exiting a trade. Okay, so I believe this is clear. All right. So next is my market. How do I intend to buy or to sell? Okay. So my market order type, sorry, my order type, my order type. So I'm going to use market. So once I spot a trading opportunity, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to buy immediately. I will buy immediately. Okay. So this is my order type. The risk management, okay. One, my position sizing is going to be 2% maximum. Okay, 2% of my account balance at most. At most. Okay, I don't want to put more than 2% at every given time. Two, my risk to reward ratio, my RRR is going to be 1:2. Meaning if I want to make $100, or if I'm willing to put in $100 to lose $100, then at least I should be able to make $200 back. Okay. So based on this, I will be able to put my TP and stop loss. Okay. So for example, if I am going to buy, if the agent tells me buy, and then I went ahead and bought the asset. Okay. So I will set, let's say my stop loss. Let's say I bought Tesla at what, $200. Okay. So and let me even say Tesla has reached eraser. So let's say Tesla is $1,000, okay, and my account balance is $10,000. I started with $10,000. Okay, so what is 2% of $10,000? 2% is what? It's $200. So meaning if Tesla is what 1,000, my stop loss is going to be at $800 because I don't want to lose more than $200 in the trade. And my take profit, since I'm going to take this guy, right? 1:2. So 2 times 200, my take profit is going to be 1,000 plus 2 times 200, and this is going to be $1,400. Okay, so this is my risk management. This is how I intend to manage the risk while making the trade. So this is the framework. First of all, we will set up the environment, which is the Google Colab. We put everything in place. Then we will build the strategy. This we will discuss this. Okay, this we will discuss this strategy with the Google Chat GPT Plus. After that, we will if he is happy and we are happy that it gets the context, then we are going to build our enforcement learning process. Next is to test the strategy. After you train the agent, you want to test the agent first of all to make sure the agent is doing well. Okay, if it is not doing well, you go and tweak the things you need to tweak until when you get it to working well. Then you are happy. Once you are happy, you connect to the market. Okay, you connect to the market and you automate your trades. They work automatically. All right. So this is the framework which we are going to follow. Okay, so I would like to mention that we have had at least now we have had 10 workshops in the previous 2 weeks. So we started the first workshop the 1st of January. So first week of January we did 4 workshops in the first week. We did 4 workshops again in the second week. So this is the third week. We did 2 workshops. Okay. So this is the third workshop of this week. So this is workshop 11. Okay. And all of this is in the series of AI application in finance. In the first week, we try to see how we use AI in terms of as a tool. For example, Google Bard was the tool that we used to get us the code. That is one application of AI. But in the second week, we try to see not just to use it as a tool, but we want to use it as part of the strategy that we are building. Okay. Then now we are also doing reinforcement learning, which is also taking things further. All right. I think somebody is saying something. Okay, Kata. Thank you. Okay. So for those of you who are joining now, you can get resources of the previous workshops, the recordings from our YouTube channel. Okay. If you go to YouTube, you check ASAT Academy, as you see from this logo here, ASAT Academy. You can be able to get all our videos of the previous sessions. We have our application, which is the one here. So on the application, you can be able to get all the recorded videos of the previous sessions. Not only that, you can download the resources. So the resources include the code, the prompts I used, okay, as well as the lecture note. So these slides will be made available, okay. So that's the resources which you will find. And we have some premium features, okay, where we use AI powered systems. For example, we have a teaching assistant that we engineered to help you understand. Okay. It provides also real time feedback on assignments. You have practice quizzes and so many things. So you can just go to our website to see this learning portal. I will send the address in the chat. So this is our the address of this learning portal, academy.ai. Okay, .ai. So you can go there, you can check this out, you should be fine. Okay, everything is going to be provided there. Okay, so the next step is to show you the process of building the bot. Of course, we might not have time to build it completely, okay, but I will show you the steps I follow and how I do it. And then if you follow the previous yeah, you are welcome, ma. Yeah. So if you follow the steps that you will see here, you should be good. Okay, you will be able to build your own trading bot as well. So I'll start sharing my browser. Uh, so no questions so far. All good. Okay. All right. So this is what we have here. Okay. So I already have this for the sake of time, but these prompts will be provided as part of the resources. Okay. You will be able to download these prompts. So if you look at our framework, the first thing is to do environmental setup. Let me set up the environment. And to do that, I need to start by installing libraries. Okay. So for those who don't know, we have these tools here, as you can see. You have ChatGPT, I already mentioned it. I have Alpaca, and then I have Google Colab. All right, yeah, you need so many resources. Yeah, I'm happy to help. Also, I'm here to help you out. Okay, so let's take a look at Alpaca. Okay, just go to Alpaca. You can Google it, and you will see this. If you go there, you will have access to an account. You can open an account, and it provides you with all this information here. This is the homepage, I believe. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so these are some of the trades we executed during our previous session. Some of them are still running. Okay, when we automated some of them, they are still running, as you can see here. Okay, so when you open Google Alpaca, you will see a dashboard like this. If you go down, you will see where you can place a trade. Here you can put the symbol of whatever it is you want to buy. You know, it could be, let's say, Apple stock, AAPL. It could be Google, okay, or Netflix. I think it's like this. Yeah, this is Netflix, for example. Let's say you want to buy Netflix. You come here. The order type, I explained this, right? Are you going to buy immediately? Yes. So I go with market order. How many shares? Let's say I have 40,000. Okay. So if I have 40,000, 2% of 40,000 is 800. So I can buy 8 shares, right? Around that. Or I can just put the 800 here, $800. That's 2% of my account. Or if my account is $10,000, let me just put 2% is 200. What is my account balance here? Now 100,000. Okay, so I can buy for 2,000. That's 2%. Here I'm buying for $2,000. I will come here, I will confirm my order. Okay, order created for what? Netflix. Let's see. How you see it? Netflix. This is the quantity, this is the cost, $2,000 filled a few seconds ago. All right. I can cancel this. I think the cancellation is here. I can open it up. So this is the Netflix order I placed. I see all the information here. Okay. All right. So these are my orders. Okay, let me go back home. These are all my orders which I have now currently open. This is the one that is recently filled out for me. Can go to orders here and I will be able to cancel it. Okay, this is Netflix. It's my order. I want to cancel this order. Okay, fill it out like this. I'm going long quantity. I don't have it. Okay, they have moved that cancel. Anyways, you can easily figure it out there. Where did they take the cancel button? Was here before. Let's go down. Okay, it's here. It has already been filled. I already lost $1 and something like that. It has been submitted and filled, so I can cancel it from here. Yeah, I will lose my $1. I'm fine. Okay, position close. Okay. All right. So the idea is I want to build something similar, but I want to do it from my coding environment. First of all, part of the environment setup is to make sure I can connect and submit orders automatically from my coding environment, which is the Google Colab. So the first thing is to install all those libraries I told you about. Okay, some of them are here, some of them I will install them later, but these are the initial ones to install. I will have to install OpenAI Gym and stuff like that. Okay, question. I trade on brokerages. Okay, but these tools require some study and practice. Do I need programming experience to train and build bots with Python, etc.? Yeah, okay. So programming experience will help. Okay, it will go a long way in helping you build. What I'm showing you here is how you can be able to use ChatGPT to get the codes, and then you can be able to run those codes without having to write the programs yourself. But yeah, from experience, I know sometimes you will still have to get, your hands dirty. You have to understand some code so that you can easily spot where something is going wrong. But the good thing is with the ChatGPT, you can be able to build your trading bot maybe in a day, something that normally will take you a month to do. So yes, programming experience will help a lot. Okay, so each of these tool of course comes with its own advantages, and yeah, with time and practice you will be able to master them. And if you want more help with regards to that, you can reach out to me. Anyways, I will send you a link later which you can book a meeting with me and we can discuss this further. All right, so before the time ends, I want to show you guys something. Okay, so this is something to, I told it, okay, I want to build a trading bot that will trade Facebook stock. I want to use Alpaca API to connect to the market. I have installed all necessary library requirements. I'm using a paper trading account to test my strategies. To test the connection, start by executing a market order on Amazon. Let the trade run for 10 seconds, then cancel the order. Okay, so it provided some explanation and gave me some code. I already installed the Alpaca Trade API here. If you come here, you see Alpaca Trade API. So I don't need to do this since I already did it. But this is the part where it tells me to get this code. So I will just click copy code. I will come here. I will paste the code here. Okay. But it tells me something. If you scroll down here, make sure you have set up credentials correctly and you have to replace these guys. Okay. So how to do that? If you go to Alpaca, we bought, if you come down here, this is how we were able to place order manually. But if you check here, you will see view API keys. So this will allow you to connect your code to this brokerage account. So if you open this, it will show you. In my case, I already generated API keys, so I was able to view API keys that I generated. For you, maybe you will see create or generate API keys. So when you do that, you will see three values: endpoint key, and then there is another value called secret. Okay, so what do? I copy the key here. I copy it. You come here, you see Alpaca key ID, for example. I will paste it here. Okay, I will come here. my secret too. I have it. Okay, the third one is always hidden. So the first time you generate, please copy and save. Copy and save. Okay, save it in a notebook or a Microsoft document. This part of endpoint is already the same with what is provided here. Okay, so this is good. I have this. So this guy is going to test buying Amazon for me, just as I told it. Let's see if it can be able to do that for me. Okay. Okay, key ID must be given to access. Did I miss the key? API key already given it here. This, and what have you. Given. Sometimes this is what I was talking about. This part, I don't need it actually. Okay, come here. Let's see. Will it be able to place the order? Because it has submitted the order here. Aha, you see it, Amazon? Bought one, because the quantity here is one. It is going to wait. It will cancel it because I told it to wait 10 seconds. That's why it is saying to wait 10 seconds, then cancel the order. Okay, so it will cancel it immediately. This field is here. This is it here. You see it here. It was filled. Okay, so it was filled and then it got submitted immediately. All right, so we can be able to submit orders directly from our code. Okay, so one thing I should have mentioned is when you see an error, okay, like I was able to remove that part because I know that was the reason for the error. You can copy the error code, go to ChatGPT and paste it. Okay, if you copy the error code, you come to ChatGPT, you paste it, it will be able to tell you how to resolve it. All right, so this is how we normally do it. So the next step is to discuss my strategy, and that's what I told it. This is okay, guys. So I explained this and I tell it, okay, the next step is the reinforcement learning process. Let me know if you understand this before we move to the next step, because it's always important to check to make sure ChatGPT or Google Bard fully understands what you are really trying to buy. And it explains things. I was happy with the explanation. Then I went ahead and told it, okay, generate the code to execute the reinforcement learning process as follows out. So it provided me the code, and everything. And I was happy. I told it so many things. So as I said, the code, the completed code that is working, which you can easily run on Google Colab to see things working, is going to be provided in the resources. The prompts, this one, okay, are also going to be provided, the step-by-step prompts, so that you can also put them and it will be generating results like this for you. You paste if you want to try it out yourself. Okay, but for as you can see, I'm getting all my code, I get it, I paste, and I'm expecting things to work. Okay, so with this, I have been able to almost cover everything in this regard. Okay, for being here, and I hope to see you in the coming sessions. Bye. Thank you, Mike. Take care. Bye.